Hi, everybody. It's Tammany from Lifestyles Digital Media Group. I'm currently at Studio 124, and today I'm sitting down with Ethan. Hi, Ethan. How are you?
Hey, Tehv. I'm great. How are you?
I'm awesome, man. So, today we will just be discussing a few topics that I would personally want to ask you since you're my mentor at Lifestyles. So, the first topic that we will be talking about is business development. So, Ethan, do you care to share with the audience? Just go down the list of all the different businesses that you have established.
Wow. Okay. Well, I actually started my first real business. I call it real business because stuff that I was doing in high school isn't real businesses, I don't think. But I started my first real business when I was 24. It was a mortgage brokerage. And so coming out of the banking system, I wanted to really pursue my entrepreneurial dream. And even though I didn't want to become the world's best mortgage broker, it was the easiest thing for me to transition into leaving the bank as a loan officer. So I had that. And while I was in that business, I ran that for about 6 years before I dissolved it. But while I was in that business, my love and passion for health and fitness came into full swing because during that time I had an amazing body transformation. I lost 110 pounds.
Congrats.
And thank you. And so the goal was, okay, well, how can I do this full time, right? Like, how can I get paid to work out? And so naturally it was like, okay, well, just open up a fitness business. And we did that. That was Elite Fitness, we started out as. And then, so that would have been, call it 2012 to about 2015, 16. We rebranded and we rebranded to Elite Wellness Solutions, focusing on corporate. So Elite Fitness, classic thing. I was a health and fitness coach. I helped people with their transformations. We wrote programs, meal plans, workout programs. And then I decided I wanted to go into corporate so that we could have more impact on more people per client. And so instead of focusing on individuals, we started focusing on businesses. And like I said, that's when we went into corporate wellness. And it was in that business that I actually started doing media. I did it as a hobby. I was a hobbyist for a while. And what happened was that we needed to start running internal marketing campaigns for the wellness programs that we were running for the companies. And I remember we did a major project, 12 weeks of wellness for one of top resorts here in the Bahamas. And I just remember seeing how much we were spending on media. And I was like, I know I could do a better job than this. And so I thought we were leaving money on the table. And so I started doing it, including those packages in the programming that we were offering the companies. And then in 2019, I actually officially launched Lifestyles Digital Media Group. My wellness company got a contract with the government to facilitate a national wellness program pilot. And the proceeds from that I used to make my initial investment into equipment and even some additional training. So that would have been February 2019. And it was awesome. So that Lifestyles at the time was really just an internal content creation machine for my company's brand and my wife's brand, Bowflex Barbie Fitness. And then, of course, 2020 came in, pandemic hit, and most companies weren't interested in corporate wellness or employee wellness programs, but a lot more people needed video work because everything was doing virtual. And I already made the investment, and so Lifestyles kind of took the lead from there. And really, once the world started opening back up post-COVID, I just decided to go all in on Lifestyles because it was so much more fun. And really, in 2024, this day and age, content and media is more of an essential service as opposed to a nice to have, right? It's like if you aren't producing content in 2024, you're really behind the eight ball. So I made it my, I guess, mission to build and grow lifestyles from 2020. So that would have been mortgage brokerage, fitness, corporate wellness, and then media.
Right, that is a really extensive list. Now, I realize what all of those businesses have in common is that they are service based or they love to help people. So, can you talk about what really inspires you to lend your compassion to others, basically, or just to build a business surrounded by helping others?
The reality is that I just love to help others. I love to be that guy. Like something that I hold near and dear to my heart is I intentionally look for ways to add value to people. And that's something that I've always done. It's always been a part of me. I recognized it, later in my adulthood that, wow, this is actually something that I do, but it really was just an unconscious thing. And then when I did realize that this is something that actually really brings me joy, that's when the intentionality came behind it. And so, I just love the fact that if I'm walking through the food store, somebody says, boy, Quant, you did that thing for me, or you helped me get this thing. And really, that's cool. I never realized that before, but you're absolutely correct. All of the businesses that I have had that service element where really I was just trying to help people.
And that's why I personally think that I'm really drawn to you, because I also have a love for helping people. So that's why when I come to work every day, I'm like, I don't think of it as a job. I always think of it as helping like a friend or a big project. So that's why when you call me, I'm just like ready to go. Like no matter the day or time, I'm ready to go. So I love working here, by the way. So in this business development process, what challenges do you face when creating these structures or these plans? Like what happens?
Well, my process for business development really starts from trying to determine or assess the greatest need out there, right? Coupled with the greatest opportunities. So like case in point, when even lifestyles has evolved since we started in 2019, we really worked with everybody and anybody because I didn't know exactly the direction that I wanted to carry the company in. And through one of the very expensive coaching programs that I participated in, my business coach said, Ethan, why don't you look? And this is an exercise that we did maybe about 2 years ago. He said, look at your clients, your client base, who is paying you money now? Which client classification is giving you the most money now? And so from there, at that point, we really streamlined our service offering into 3 primary categories: personal brands and professionals, small and medium-sized businesses, and large companies. And so we ran that structure for, like I said, about maybe a year and a half, 2 years, and then we went back, and it was cool because I love working with personal brands. Business and entrepreneurship is something that I'm personally passionate about, and big companies normally mean big checks, right? So it was working out. But when we did a further assessment, checking in again, my coach said, okay, well, what do you want to do with the company? And I said, well, I really want to build it into a multi-million-dollar powerhouse. He's like, give me a number. And at the time, I thought of the biggest number that I could. I said, it would be awesome if I could build lifestyles into a $100 million company. And so we did a simple exercise. And he said, okay, well, to get to your first million, what's the average ticket? And so literally, we did an average ticket, which is the average cost of services per client classification. Small, personal brands, small and medium-sized businesses, and corporate. And of course, corporate has a larger ticket. And so it's like, okay, well, the goal is how can you make the most money servicing the least number of clients? And really, when we looked at it through assessment, we realized that the majority of our revenue was coming from the smallest number of clients, which is our corporate clients. And so mid last year, we really made the decision to go all in on corporate, coining ourselves corporates, content creators. And, we still have, we didn't just get rid of other clients. We still have small businesses that we work with. We still have individual brands that we work with, but our energies, efforts, and resources are really going towards corporate. And so the strategy behind that was, okay, well, that was how we decided to go into corporate. And then once we decided to niche down, focusing on corporate, it was like, okay, well, we have to be able to give corporate more than one thing, which is content marketing, right? Like everybody's like, oh, I want a 30 or 60-second commercial. And so we really did a deep dive into how much different services can we provide this one classification of client. And then honestly, we just started doing research. We did a lot of stuff online, and then we also called a lot of people, and then we also looked at the existing corporate clients we had. Where was it that we were servicing them the most, right? And so literally from probably two types of content that we produce for corporate clients, through that exercise of doing research, talking directly to the client, checking in, looking, and taking an inventory and stock of our existing clients, we literally grew that list from about 2 to about 25 different types of content services that we provide, and that list is constantly growing. And so really we looked at, okay, well, two primary categories of internal and external communications, because really that's all content is, right? Content is really just a vehicle by which companies look at sharing their information. It's how they communicate with audiences, whether that's an internal or external audience, and really that's how we went about that. And so we have that base, and as we develop new types of business opportunities or new types of ways to service our niche clients, it's really just based on their need. We literally listen, or we see, okay, well, they aren't doing this. We know that this can add value, so let's present them with the opportunity to do this for them. And so that's really what it is. We take a stock of what it is that we're looking at in terms of what the client's needs are, and where we can add the most value, and that really guides the business development process for me.
Right, that was very insightful. Like, I love it, honestly. Like, you did not pause, and I was like, yeah, he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's very intentional about what he does. So from your first business to now, what was some of the mistakes that you made, or how have you evolved with that process?
I would say definitely from my first business, being a young buck, the greatest evolution I've had was in how I approached business. My business was very transactional because I was very transactional. Even though I was in the business of serving people, I served them well, but I discounted the value of relationship. And so my thing was, you pay me to do a service, I will provide you that service. But just having shifted to a relationship business model where how can I nurture our relationship? The money is going to come. So that has been the biggest evolution for me, is focusing on the relationship. And, in corporate, when we decided to really niche down and deal with corporate, that was something that I actually struggled with, because I'm like, okay, well, you're not dealing with one person to get this process done. If you're working with a small business owner, they're the decision maker, right? If you're working with somebody who has a personal brand, they're a decision maker. But if you're working with a large company, chances are the person that you're dealing with on a daily basis, your POC, your point of contact, is not the decision maker. And so this has to get reviewed, and then it has to go to the board, and then it has to get approved, and this, that, and next. And so I struggled with that for a moment, and then I realized, no, it's still people. Like, you're still in the people business. And just focusing on, working with the person that I have direct contact with, my POC, treating them like a person, understanding that they have, goals and targets and things that they need to meet. So how can I add value to this person, so that they can add value to their one up, so that they can add value. And so, it's still a value driven process.
Yes, and that still comes back to helping others and everything. Which
Yeah.
I don't know how you didn't realize that was your calling and everything, but
I know.
it's so clear, it's so abundant.